Ladies and gentlemen, yes, you are here. Thank you for being here. You're not really here, but you are here. You are here via YouTube. What a phenomenon, huh? YouTube? Remember in the days when there wasn't a YouTube, or an internet for that matter. It's incredible how much we can learn and the incredible things we can learn. Boy, I wish I could have had YouTube and this kind of stuff to access back in the old days when I first started looking at this subject matter of being like my Father in heaven. Guys, it was so slow. With books, I love books, but video and lectures, and it was so slow. I had to go to the library, borrow books, go to bookstores, buy books. I was young and single and a musician and dragging books around. That wasn't happening. I was kind of like a one book at a time guy until I actually settled down at the age of 27. It was a 10-year run for me from the revelation that I needed to be like my Father in heaven, studying the Bible, to the point where I was like, that's it, I got to go all in on this thing. Otherwise, life is just dumb. I'd done some pretty cool things from a worldly perspective in those 10 years, and it was just like, meh, this doesn't even compare to what I know I need to be, and I know that I can be. But my attitude and my life and the stuff I was doing was, let's use the word disordered. I like that word. I like it. It's a good word. There's a lot worse words I could use. Let's just say it that way. Relative to the things I was, getting to, and that's rock and roll, right? So, the adventure since the age of 27. Whew, boy, I'll tell you, I have learned a couple things on this subject matter and many others. I've learned how not to do things to a great degree, I learned in the depths of my, the word depravity really isn't a great word. Damage is probably the best way I could put that. Depravity, I suppose, is a word. It just comes off like I don't want to be evil. I don't want to be unloving. I don't want to be selfish. I don't want to be prideful, and I've never really been that guy, to be honest. I was raised to, love my neighbor as I love them, do unto others as you do, as you'd have them do unto you. And I wasn't the best at it, but, I was in the game. I really wanted that. If I hurt somebody, I really hated that. I didn't like that. Unless they deserved it, which was not good, but, whatever. I got a different attitude now about things, and here I am years later. So here we are. Be Catholic ? Welcome to the channel. If this is the first time you've been here, hi. Welcome here. We're having some fun. We're talking about the most important things ever in the history of the world. Being like our daddy in heaven, Father in heaven. So many religions in the world have good things. They're helpful in many instances. I've studied all of them, not extensively per se. I've really been looking for the human potential. So some of them, there wasn't a whole lot of that going on. It was a lot of philosophy, and rules and regulations and that kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong, rules and regulations are good if they're going to lead me to the point where I'm going to reach my human potential. Great, awesome, I'll take that. But if it's not, if you don't have a sample or an example of someone who's gone through that system or practice or, training or whatever, if you're not coming out the other end, a Christ-like person, from my perspective, I'm just like, nah, I got other things to do. And so... But in many of them, there's some very cool stuff that was going on. And, God's done some things with different religions and groups throughout history. He loves all of us. He created all of us. He's the Father of all of us. And I dig the recently, in the last 2 years, I've been looking, as I've ad nauseum mentioned since I started this channel, all through Series 1 and Series 2. I think we're on the 5th episode today of Series 2. Woo-wee. Shoo-wee. That's a southern, maybe an Appalachian. Sorry to those in Appalachia that don't make noises like that. Although I've heard guys that do. And y'all in Kentucky, whoo, you got a way of doing things. It's anyway, I won't get into all that. I love those guys in Kentucky. They're good old boys up there. Not far from here, I'll tell you. And some good old boys here in Nashville, too. I'm kind of from, some of that. But anyway, here we are, getting at it today. Being like our Father in heaven, this series 2. And I do need to say, if this is the first time you've logged on to this channel, go back to episode 1, series 1. You really need to. You really, really need to. There's so much in that first series that's so critical to understanding what I'm talking about today. And we are in the deep woods. We're in the deep end of the pool, y'all. We need a lifeguard on duty for the depths of where we are now. Frankly, we need a lifeboat. Because this stuff is so heavy duty, y'all. In the last episode, we were really getting into, we want to talk about how, if you don't become like a child, humble like a child, you are not going to progress on this subject matter. We just looked at that episode yesterday, or the last time, whenever it was. Episode 4 was about that. But this second series is about talking with God, getting that dialogue going, having an experience with the kingdom of heaven. People were doing it all through the Bible, and that's exciting stuff for me. That's why part of the reason why I love reading the sacred scriptures, because I just see my potential in all of that. Not that, I'm not going to be Peter or John or, those guys. I don't see it that way, but I just see God doesn't show prejudice. That's in episode 3 of series 2. Check that out. Hopefully you already have. If not, go back to series 1, episode 1. Or if you got through all that, don't start here in series 2. Go back to episode 1 of series 2, because this whole idea of dialoguing with God, it's critical that we get this. We got to have this in our life, y'all. We need to talk with God. Yes, we do. It's our daddy. We need to talk to him. We got to talk to our dad. It's the way we're designed. We saw that in Genesis chapter 1 or chapter 3. Adam and Eve are talking with God in the cool of the day, hanging out in the Garden of Eden, dialoguing back and forth. God says something, Adam says something, Eve says something, God says something. They're dialoguing. Look, that's how it was supposed to be, And unfortunately, in that chapter, they were in trouble. I would have loved to hear some of the dialogue before they were in trouble, but there's none of that there. God did talk to Adam before that, actually, but got to look back at that. Nonetheless, God wants to talk to us if we're in good shape. He wants to talk to us if we're in screwed up shape, like he was chatting with Cain. In the Cain and Abel story, Cain killed his brother, because he was mad at God and his brother, But God still talked to him, dialogued with him. We are all supposed to be dialoguing with God. Now, I'm not saying all day, every day necessarily, although I will take that if I can get it, whenever I can get it. I'll talk to him whenever he wants to talk, and that's my attitude. And that's why I've had some successes on this subject matter, which I'm going to share. Might be the last episode in this series. I'm going to get into that stuff for you. I'm going to not go there right now, and I'm going to save it. But today, we're building on what the foundation we've been laying down in series 2, the critical nature of talking to God. We need help, y'all. We need help. We need to be like Jesus. We figured that out to this point. Good luck with that. If I'm not dialoguing with my Father in heaven, Jesus did create all of us. He's our brother. I have a hard time not looking at him as a dad also in that way. It's kind of like grandfather and father. I kind of look at it, sort of. Maybe that's wrong to look at it that way. I don't know. But I know Jesus made all things, and I'm one of those things. So, all right. But I need to be like him, and if I'm not, and that's an emergency for me. Like if I need to repent of anything, it's that whatever I've done with my life to this point, it hasn't gotten me to where I need to be. And, I've used up a lot of time doing things that didn't help. Now, and God used those things for good, which is, thank goodness, But I need to be further along in all this, and maybe you'll feel the weight of that yourself when you get this revelation, if you haven't already, that we are designed to be like him. Think about a car. If you're not using it as it's designed, if you want to drive in reverse all the time, well, it's not going to go very well, right? I want to be as I'm designed to be, and this fallen place that we're coming from, I'd like to just not be there at all. So it's kind of an emergency, I think, for me. And maybe it will be that way for you sometime. What we're looking at here is we're getting into the thick of it. We are getting into the exhaustive nature of how to do this thing that we need to, changing the way we think and we feel about our mission in life. Getting to the point where God's the most important thing on the list. Everything's important, but God's the most important. Become humble as a child, as we looked at last episode. Today, we're going to look at some ways how the creator of all things says this is how he wants us to come to him. Okay? Yeah, let's just do it his way. We're going to look at it, and you're going to see, okay. I get it now. I get why it hasn't been now how it could be, should be. And so we're going to kick it off with episode 5 right now. Matthew chapter 21, verses 18 through 22. Matthew 21, verses 18 through 22. Bust out that Bible. Hopefully there's no dust on it. Or you do as I do it and use my phone or my laptop. I've got some Bible software, y'all. Whew, man, you need some Bible software if you don't have it, because, wow, it's so fast. It sure beats the old days and having to carry around strong concordances and, dictionaries and lexicons. And, I got a whole library in my Bible software. I could fill this room with the books. All right, moving right along. Matthew 21, 18 through 22. We want to talk to God. We need to talk to God. Let's listen to what Jesus says about that. Verse 18. Okay. In the morning, as he was returning to the city, he was hungry. And he's with his disciples at this point. Keep that in mind. That's the context. Verse 19. And seeing a fig tree by the wayside, he went to it and found nothing on it but leaves only. And he said to it, "May no fruit ever come on you again!" Exclamation mark. And the fig tree withered at once. Jesus spoke with intent, and it died. Keep that in mind for future reference. Put a pin in that. When the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, "How did the fig tree wither at once?" Verse 21. And Jesus answered them. Listen to this. "Truly, I say to you, if you have the faith," we're going to go now. "If you have faith and never doubt, you will not only do what has been done to the fig tree, but even if you say to this mountain," the mountain he created, and he created that fig tree too, "be taken up and cast into the sea, it will be done. And whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith." Boom. Whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith. Whatever you ask for, you will receive in faith. What's the condition? Last episode, come like a child. Got to be humble like a child. Got to be humble like a child. Got to be humble like a child. But if you do, with faith, and this is what Jesus is saying here, teaching his disciples how to be like him, truly I say to you, and they're wondering, hey, how did you do this to the tree? He's going, guys, this is how it works. I'm teaching you how to be like me. This is how you do it. Truly I say to you, if you have faith and never doubt, I mean, what's there to doubt? He's the creator of the universe. And he says, if you come to me as a child, you will not only do what was done to this fig tree. He's being literal. This is not figurative. This is not hyperbole. But even if you say to this mountain, be taken up and cast into the sea, it will be done. That's a very godlike attribute, to be able to speak to mountains and trees and have them move. Let that sink in. This is literally what Jesus teaches his disciples, you and me, and his guys there. And whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith. This is so dense. We're going to unpack some of this here. We got to unpack some of this here. We got to let this sink in. First of all, let's just dial it back a bit. This is God, Jesus, telling humans, you, me, them, teaching them what? Teaching them how to move mountains and move fig trees with intent and speaking. That's what he's doing. Look, I didn't do it. It's not my fault. This is Jesus talking. I mean, you want to be a Christian? You want to be a disciple of Jesus? Well, what are you going to do with this? Right? What do we do with this? I can't just say no. You know, if I say no, well, then I'm going to just be normal, natural. I want to be like Jesus. Okay, Jesus, you say so. I'm there. Let's do this thing. Now, none of his disciples walked away and did that. There's a process, right? But he's teaching them, look, you're not there yet, but you will be. You're going to be like your Father in heaven. You're going to be like me, moving mountains, moving fig trees, speaking with intent. And God said, let there be light. If you say to the fig tree, if you say to the mountain, see, the godly episode or series 1 covered that. And whatever you ask in prayer. Okay? That's the beginning of a dialogue. That's you and me and them speaking to God. Again, it all comes to speaking. Now you can speak internally. Is it the same thing? Yeah. Jesus said, if you look upon a woman in lust, you've committed adultery. Thinking. That's not doing it. You're just thinking about it. Meditating on it. Entertaining the thought. Now, we get thoughts all the time, and if we delete them, well, that's not what he means. This stuff is so dense, isn't it? Now, it's super simple. There's nothing complicated in all this. You know, we're not having to do mathematical algebra. You know, we're not trying to get a rocket on the moon. No, we're doing something so beyond what Elon Musk is doing. No offense to Elon. And I love, he's growing and he's changing and he's he's come leaps and bounds over the years listening to him, what he talks about. But what Elon is doing doesn't even touch this. What we're looking at and what we're studying and where we're developing, Elon can't even touch it with what he's doing. We're talking about being like the creator of the universe. We're talking about moving mountains when we speak. That's what Jesus is saying. Take it up with him. I didn't do it. It's not my fault. I know. You just go, what? We got to wrap our hands around the reality of what the truth is. The truth will set us free. The truth will set us free. The truth will set us free. Covered that in series 1. What's the main big thing here? Well, we're not quite there but we need our faith changed, right? That's what he's saying. And whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith, if you have faith, if you have faith, if you have faith. What does that mean? That's not blind faith. That's not, faith is something that grows and develops in us. Talked about this in the last episode. Jesus' disciples saying, hey, help us build our faith. Well, this is in Luke. That was in, I think, Matthew. He literally is telling them this, to build their faith. What's happening right now as I'm speaking is it's building your faith if you don't reject it. It's building my faith just reading it. That's why the Word of God is powerful. It's designed, it's inspired by the creator of the universe. And when we take this in, it rewrites our code, rewires everything. If we let it, just don't say no to it. Just say, oh, okay, I don't get it, but God help me understand this. That's a legitimate place to be, especially if it's the first time you're considering it. Like this, right? I mean, we've been trained our whole lives that we're just human. Just human. You heard that? Just human. I reject that wholeheartedly. What could be more foul? What more foul thing can be said than I'm just human? What a lie. Absolute lie. And we build the foundation of who we are on that premise. We are just human. This culture, I'm telling you, it's designed to keep us powerless. This culture and the forces of darkness that are behind this culture, if you think I'm talking through my hat, well, have a look around, right? Look at what's on the internet, what's on your phone 24/7, you're one step away from. I mean, that's some serious foulness, right? Like it's literally right there in your hand all day, every day. For the history of the world, they never had that. I'm not going to get into it, but this culture is so damaging. Watch out for your kids. Watch out for your kids. Watch out for yourself. I mean, we got to be on guard. I'm telling you, God, we need help. We need help. We need to be dialoguing with God. Whatever you ask for in prayer, you will receive if you have faith. Well, my prayer is, God, I really need to talk to you. I really need to talk to you. Look, you're the king. On your time, whenever, at any point that's something that you feel is a good time, I'm here for it. And I'm just going to wait with faith and believing that you're going to talk to me because I asked. Boom. See what I'm saying? It's so simple. I'm just a kid. I'm a little child. I don't know. I'm just going to ask. Dad, I need a loaf of bread. Is he going to give me a stone? Dad, I need a fish. Is he going to give me a snake? We looked at that. No, he's a good dad. Here it is, in a nutshell. This is one of the most powerful section of Scripture, and written in the history of the world. Now, in the Bible, there are so many things I could say that about, and I have, and I will again as we look into more of them. But this section of verse, folks, you got to sit. We cannot reject. Anything that we reject that the Creator says is going to keep us from being as He's designed us to be. That's it. We got to say yes. We got to figure out what it is. Ask. It'll be given. Search, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened. I want the door open. I need the door open. I need to be like Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. I need to be like all the guys throughout the history of God dealing with people, being someone He talks to and dialogues with. If He wants to do it directly, great. If He wants to send an angel, a messenger from heaven, that's what that means in English, angel, messenger from heaven. Yes, please. Yes. We're going to look in episodes to come. How does He talk to us? He uses coincidences sometimes. He will come in dreams. He'll send angels in dreams. He'll send angels physically. He'll speak audibly. He'll speak audibly in dreams. It's incredible. Things that build my faith is looking at other people and how God's, how they were, what their attitudes were. And what He would say and the time He would spend with them. That's why I keep going to Padre Pio. In my opinion, one of the most amazing Christians you'll ever read about in the history of the world. Really. Padre Pio. He just died in 1968. And he changed the world. Changed my world, I'll tell you what. If you need a case study for Catholicism, he's the poster child. Padre Pio. Healing the sick, giving words of wisdom, bilocating, being in more than one place at the same time. You know, God does amazing things through us if we just be like children. Say, yes, please. Whatever you'd like today, sir. Yes, Dad. Yes, Dad. Yes, Dad. Yes, Dad. Yes, Dad. You know, we just keep going. Yes, Dad. Not no, Dad, but yes, Dad. All the no dads, well, that's going to create a speed bump. You know, it's going to be a barrier for us to get where he wants us to go. Look what he did to Jonah. I mean, Jonah talked with him all the time. God asked Jonah to do something he didn't want to do, and he went off the other way. Didn't go so well for Jonah, if you know the story. Got thrown off a boat and ended up in the belly of probably a whale for 3 days and 3 nights. Yeah, I'm going to pass on all that if I can. Oh, boy. So this is so exciting, guys. Like, this is the stuff Catholicism's built on. You know, we looked at Athanasius, one of the greatest, I believe he was doctor of the church, yeah. Going back, you know, the early church fathers. And what was he famous for saying? God became man that man might become God. I mean, Catholicism has been teaching this the whole time, 2,000 years. Yeah, I got lots to look at now. I thought I got to the end of it with Protestant evangelical Christianity, and boy, I didn't realize I had 2,000 years I hadn't looked at and needed to, because it's so amazing. With that, guys, I'm very, very excited for myself, for the grace that God's giving us. Like, just right now, the time that you're spending right now, God is just pouring out grace from heaven, going, I'm giving you seek first the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness, and everything you need will be given to you. We're going to pull that verse out real soon in the future. Everything. What is everything you need? Do we need to talk to him? Yes, he's going to pour that out on you. I guarantee it. Look, I guarantee it. I already know, because he does it, and he's done it. He does it, and he will do it more in my own life. The last episode of this series, I think I'm going to break that stuff out for you. Just my, what he said to me, the experiences I've had. Now, that's personal revelation. I'm not expecting anyone to believe me, but I'm not talking through my hat, and I'm not crazy. Well, maybe a little. Guys, this is so awesome. I get so overly excited every time I read this stuff and I talk about this stuff with just anybody who will listen. And now by God's grace, I have the skills and abilities to put all of this into a YouTube channel for anyone who will spend time with it. And I've already had a bunch of people who have spent some time on it, and and it's very, very, very encouraging. Thank you so much, guys, for being a part of what's happening here. It really is amazing. If I can help one person, all of this is worth it. And I've got so much to do. It's never ending, really. I mean, but I'm going to leave it at that. Bless you all, and I'm going to see you in the next episode. Come and see me for the next episode. Bless you. Bye now.